Since humans first looked up at the night sky in wonder, space has been a mystery and an inspiration. Seeking to connect with the heavens, star patterns were identified to reflect myths and legends. Some of the stars were seen to move slowly over the background and were called wanderers or planets. From observing, cataloguing and measuring the stars and closely examining the light from them, amazing discoveries have been made and theories developed about how stars shine, how they are born, and how they may eventually die. And the human connection with them was finally uncovered. The elements from which the earth and all life are formed are actually made in the stars and spread out when the star explodes at its life end. To get closer and uncover more wonders, space probes were launched to explore the solar system. And now satellite systems have been developed to help study the Earth's environment and help understand the weather and climate change, and to monitor such things as the effects of pollution and agricultural patterns. Other systems are helping with communications and a whole range of human activities. The importance of outer space to all humankind was recognized very early on in the development of space travel, and was the reason that the Outer Space Treaty on principles governing the activities of states in the exploration and use of outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, was developed, agreed and signed at the United Nations in 1967. The treaty recognizes outer space as a global commons, and it states that the exploration and use of outer space shall be carried out for the benefit and in the interests of all countries, and shall be the province of all humankind. However, the dependency on space and the rapid development of space technologies are running out of control. We are experiencing a tragedy of the commons, where major users with open access to space and who are unconcerned about any rules that govern access and use are acting according to their own self-interests and contrary to the common good of all. While some seek to explore and explain, others look to exploit and dominate. Billionaires and their corporations are seeking to exploit space, while the military wants to dominate and control the ultimate military high ground. The launching of rockets is also producing environmental problems, polluting the ground with fuel and exhaust fumes. The increased activity in space is creating huge amounts of debris that could even eventually prevent spacecraft from leaving the Earth altogether. The passage of rockets through the atmosphere could also be affecting the ozone layer, and the huge increase in rocket launches is setting up big problems for the future. Space corporations also plan to establish networks of thousands of satellites to provide superfast 5G networks for global broadband coverage that will also have military applications for communications and will increase surveillance and targeting capabilities. The number of satellites in orbit is set to grow rapidly and will hamper astronomers and dramatically change the night sky. In addition, accidents do happen, and when they do at launch, then a considerable amount of environmental destruction and contamination follows. The increase in satellite launches is accompanied by also an increase in places to launch from. New spaceports are being established around the world, and their construction is often opposed by local residents, concerned about the effects on their environment and the destruction of local ecologies. Nuclear power in space is also being promoted once again, but nuclear generators for planetary bases or for rocket propulsion create environmental problems, from the mining of the uranium to deployment on spacecraft or celestial bodies. And what if there was an accident at launch that could spread deadly nuclear materials far and wide? Interest in the development of nukes in space is perhaps more to do with being able to power space weapons. Establishing bases or even landing on celestial bodies can also bring contamination by dangerous substances or bacteria, just as Europeans brought sickness to the New World. And now the moons and planets of our solar system are on the verge of being exploited by mining corporations. In 2015, President Obama signed the so-called Space Law, approved by the US Congress to allow US companies to exploit space mining and the appropriation of asteroids and other space resources. Mining activities in space would produce waste deposits on celestial bodies or aggravate environmental problems on Earth and perpetuate the wasteful use of resources. So, what we do in space, and whether we exploit or explore, relies on a few people making the right choices, and it's up to us to ensure that they do. Join us and the many others around the world who are doing what they can to keep space for peace.